Well, we need to welcome you back, and it's still a big story for today. And we're talking about the recent exodus or mass exodus of Nigerian lecturers and what really impact is having on our universities. That's what we're having as a major one. But anyway, as much as we're looking at that, I still have the other person, but Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume. He's the present chairperson of ASU at FUPRI. But let's return to the business of the day, and we're still talking about mass exodus of lecturers from our Nigerian institutions, and we're talking about government-owned institutions and how that seems to be impacting negatively in the educational sector and what truly needs to be done. But what we'll do now is return back to our guest, and I'm talking of no other person, but Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume. He's joining us via phone. And hello, are you still with us, sir? Hello? Okay, we'll try and see how we can really bring him on board, and we'll continue our discussion. In case you join us in our initial half, we looked at the reasons why there seems to be mass exodus of our lecturers from our tertiary institution, and what that reasons will mean for us is what we'd like to look at, and definitely look and get his reactions. Hello, are you still with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm with you, Mr.
Well, nice to have you back with it. And let's continue our discussion. But on a very disturbing note, just last week, the Federal University of Gusau, Zamfara State, disclosed that the institution was in need of about 1,000 lecturers. And the reason they need that 1,000 lecturers is to fill the vacancy created by those who have left. That means 1,000 lecturers have left the Federal University of Gusau in the last 2-3 years. But anyway, I'm now forced to ask, and the quick question I want to ask, I just really want to get your reactions and see to it. Now, is it that these countries that these lecturers are leaving to, they have a way of recruiting or a recruitment scheme that they use in recruiting our lecturers, and in just a honest approach to it, what countries do these lecturers like going to? If you have any view on that, I'd really like you to share it with us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, I know you laugh about that, but please help us out.
Yeah. I think what the Federal University of Gusau has announced, it's something that they cut across most other universities. Because the truth is this, with this shortage of lecturers, it is drastically leading to decline in quality of teaching. Why do I say so? Because we have situations now where current lecturers that are still in the system are usually overworked and underpaid.
Okay.
You see the irony? They are overworked and also underpaid. And this is affecting their ability to teach effectively.
Yeah,
now, coming back to the next question.
To come to the impact, but I really want to understand.
Coming to the question, the countries where they are going to, they cut across so many. Some are going, funny enough, some are going to African countries.
Wow.
That's the truth. Some are going to some African countries. Because it's all about stability now. It's all about stability. Yes, good number. Before now, a lot used to go to North America, that's Canada, America. Some are going to European countries like UK. And also we have some others going to other, Norway. We have good numbers in Norway too. They are going to countries that have stability and value for education. It's just that this recent trend is even giving a situation where some are moving to neighboring African countries. That's how bad it is. And the recent trend where the question will go to African countries and go and like to be, it's not too far from the situation with our economy, the exchange rate. So as it stands now, I think just a few days ago I was reading where somebody was saying the Cameroonian currency now is doing better than our own. So we might see a trend. We have some lecturers, if they can speak French, they also move to Cameroon just to make ends meet. That is how it has got into. That's the situation. So what has been reported by the Federal University of Gusau is a very opportune situation. It's not just peculiar to them. And if something is not done immediately, then we are in for a big mess with regards to the future of our nation, because these universities are training leaders of tomorrow. And if we get it wrong, then tomorrow that we are dreaming of might never be achievable.
Okay, now let's now come to the impact. And before I go to the impact, now according to universities ranking this year, It's only 2 Nigerian universities that could make it within the first 1,000. And the first Nigerian university that got it to it came 800, and among the least is even a private-owned university. And the only government institution, according or looking at that very list, is no other but the University of Ibadan.
Ibadan,
Yes, it came 1,000. But looking at that, many of the reasons you gave initially for the decay in our institutions were highlighted as a reason we've not had many other institutions, Nigeria-owned institutions, making the list of even first 1,000. But let's leave that. But look now, if this problem of lecturers leaving does persist, just tell us the impact it will have in our educational sector. Let's just imagine for the next 5 years. How is it and what impact will they have? And what are institutions likely going to look at if we continue having mass exodus of lecturers leaving the shores of this land?
Well, before I quickly delve into the impact, let me just quickly add a bit to why Covenant is where they are.
Okay.
Look at the investment, the value they put on the quality of what is going on in Covenant.
Yeah.
Electricity supply there is stable. So they encourage research. They have wonderful research center. Okay. And they fund high quality publications.
Okay.
Covenant have a system there that if you come out with a good paper, you send it to high impact journal and it's accepted, the university pay $3,000.
Wow.
But here we find ourselves in federal universities, public universities. Nobody pays for you. How much is your salary? Which lecturer can who afford $1,000 for open access publication rather than talking about $3,000? Just imagine. So that's why Covenant is where they are today.
There are 800 on the list.
Yes, that's why they are there today. I'm just telling you the truth. It's all about the quality of their publication in high impact journal, and the university is funding it. They are paying for it. But we don't have that leverage in public university. That brings it back to the question with regards to the impact.
Yes.
The impact, of course, definitely is going to drastically affect the quality of teaching, which is we are seeing is declining. When people were talking about how big graduates, sorry to say, I just wonder that if something is not done in the next 5 years, we might be seeing a situation where the narrative will not be unbaked graduates. If people are saying we have half-baked, in the next 5 years, probably the nation wants to see the ones that are not baked at all. It's quite unfortunate. Research is also suffering with this trend because of this mass resignation of academic staff. We are having it tough. It's having its own toll with regards to negative impact on research in university. Universities are losing their best researchers, making it difficult for us to have a cutting-edge research output. Yes, and if we don't get that right, I just imagine how we intend to get our technological breakthrough as a nation. If we now go back to relying on foreign research output to drive home our domestic development, then I don't think we are ready as a nation. So it's going to be a very appalling situation. We pray it does not happen. We pray it does not happen. But the truth is this: if nothing is done, we see that going to happen. That's not the truth. But to summarize it all, it's going to drastically affect the quality of teaching and learning.
Okay, just as much as you've said, you've really given a grim picture of the likelihood if these does persist, and many Nigerians, I know those listening to us at home, will definitely be having a frown on their face as they listen to what the likely impact will be in the next 5 years. But let's come back to the federal government, who seems to have all it takes and needs to do more as it concerns solving this problem. And if we look at it, in September this year, they inaugurated the Committee for the Education Roadmap with specific emphasis on revamping the tertiary institution to be more competitive with others globally, and thus improving the working condition of lecturers. But with the knowledge of what's happening at the moment, do you feel the government is sincere in actually changing the narrative as it concerns these mass exodus, with all they've said, especially with that inauguration of the Committee on Education Roadmap that was inaugurated just in September?
Thank you again once more. Each time you come with this narrative that has to do with government, I laugh before responding because some of us were heard of this saying that the government doesn't want to do it, they'll set up a committee. So there have been several committees from successive government. What have been the outcome? We all know. Only the layman on the street know the solution to these things. Let them
But do you see
previous
that
reports.
sincerity in government in wanting to do more to change this, especially with the inauguration of that committee in September? Or do you feel quite
For
indifferent
me,
about it?
I'll say I feel different. Let the government prove us wrong. For me, feel different because this has not been the first time suspecting government are becoming this kind of approach. So for me, if they fail to do it, we will not be surprised. But rather, let them surprise us for the first time by doing it correctly. That's just the truth. So we don't want to dwell too much on what's going to come out from it. Because the truth, I just told you something. 7th of November, no salary, no explanation from the same government. So how are we going to show? There have been several reports from government, committee set up by government. They will set up committee, appoint committee members. The committee will send a report and recommendation. They will set up another committee to look into it because they don't want to implement. So we'll keep going back and forth. So for some of us, we are not expecting anything different, or except we choose to prove us wrong because we know the obvious solution. Probably when we get to that stage of our discussion, we'll highlight some of those obvious solutions with regards to weigh out if government is sincere, let it adopt the method we'll discuss today.
Okay, as long as you raise that off, I'm really inching also to ask you this, but I needed to get your view, especially as it concerns the inauguration of that that committee on education roadmap and the tertiary institution taking the lead role on that. But now let's come to it. What do you feel needs now to be done by the federal government to address the mass exodus of lecturers from our tertiary institution? And not just only that, what do you feel the federal government needs to do now to address the problems and deal with the mass exodus of lecturers? And when I ask that question, also looking at the 2024 appropriation bill, which education sector seems to take the second largest lion's share on that very budget. Do you see also that money going into the educational sector, and if not just doing or solving the problem, but at least making it have a feeling that things will definitely change? So let's just go into what will be the best way out of this problem we have at the moment.
Okay, good one. For me, I want to summarize the solution out of this crisis as a crisis. I want to
yes, it is a crisis.
Into 4 major areas.
Okay.
And those 4 major areas, I will highlight them to be improving working conditions, respecting the academic community, investing in research, and addressing the brain drain. So I'll go into them one after the other so that we understand why I choose to highlight them this way.
Yeah, please.
The truth is this. The truth is this. With regards to working condition of not just academic staff, but all workers in the university system, like I mentioned when we started, since 2009, there have been one particular scale, no improvement despite inflation. So it's not motivating. People want to leave. Nobody wants to stay in one place stagnant without seeing that you have the hope someday to make progress. So there will be need to look at the issue of the increase in salaries, addressing the issues of unpaid allowances. We have backlog of unpaid earned allowances that have not been paid, and also improving infrastructure. Because for me, working conditions is beyond take home. The environment where you work is still part of working conditions. Imagine you go to work, there's no power supply, you cannot be too effective with regards to productivity. So that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. Number 2 will be respecting the academic community. The university system is a community. It's not like the secular world, it's a community. We have a system of operation, which means there will need to be a serious engagement with academic staff in good faith and addressing our collective concerns. If you are engaging in the academic community, don't come with a mindset that it's an area where you want to make money. Universities are not IGRO generating agencies. No, we don't generate IGRO. Just like the last policy, thank God the president rescinded the 40% policy.
Yes.
But it was ill conceived. University is not a revenue generating agency. So they need to engage the academic community with good faith. And also, in that good faith, if you want to address our concern and you have signed off an agreement and you want to address it, sign off what you know you will address in good faith. And you do your part, we will do our part. Not just sign off in deceit, then you remain where we are. So it's something that needs to be looked at. Also, investing in research is critical. This will include the need to provide adequate funding for research projects and creating more supportive environment for research. When the funds are there, let the environment be conducive. I just mentioned something about Covenant University. The environment is conducive for research. People want to do research. So that needs to also be addressed. And lastly, is the need for government to see the brain drain, which is a brain gain for other clients. For us, it is brain drain. Clients, it is brain gain. So government need to see the need to look into that aspect by creating incentives for academics to stay in Nigeria. Some example of those incentives that can be created will be offering scholarships. And I think it was happening in the past, where we were told that once you are employed, you are given a car, interest-free loan, and so on and so forth. You see the incentive, people who want to go into the academic community. So government needs to go back to that template and adopt it, creating incentive for academics to stay in Nigeria, such as offering scholarship, loan, grants, research grants, so that we will not use our salary, because salary is money you are paying us for work done. It is money you are paying us for work done. So we don't use that to be providing the tools that we need to do the work. No. Because presently now we provide tools. We have our own system. We try to buy reagents for ourselves for research. That's not what it's supposed to be. So create this incentive, create loan forgiveness program. Let us have accessibility to funds to also meet our needs so that you can be focused in your research. Imagine a situation a lecturer is doing research, the family is hungry, you get home, you are not coordinated. There's no way you can
bring the best.
That is just the truth.
Yeah.
It's the obvious truth. And those are things that are obtainable in other clients. What I'm saying here is not rocket science. It is things that are obtainable in other clients. Even for us, we usually tell government when we negotiate with government, you should forget developed nation, European countries. Let us use the African average. Don't people give us the top in Africa. Let us work on the African average. That is why South Africa is doing very well. So it is key. It's fundamental. So if we look at these 4 areas I've highlighted, I think if with all sincerity of my purpose, if government is sincere in addressing the issue, if we look at these 4 areas, we will get ourselves up this crisis and the mess it has cost us. That's just the truth.
Well, thank you so much, Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okolugube. I do know there's an election going on, and that's why you just couldn't come here in person. But we'll need to leave you to ensure that that also is being done. But thank you so much and for joining us. He's no other person but the chairperson of ASU at FUPRI here in Delta State. Thank you so much, Engineer Dr. Wilfred.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Ray.
Well, thank you so much. Well, on that note, we need to go on the break now, but when we come back, we'll make it even more interactive. We'll open up the lines, get your reactions as it concerns the big story, as much as we'll also be looking at solutions. What other solutions do you feel has to come and come quick to end this mass exodus, or JAPA, as we call it, right here in our institutions?